There are two alleys, a little bit similar. One is more dirty, though. Go down Grime Alley.
Don't go down Crime
Do
Alley.
not go down Crime Alley.
Go down Grime Alley.
Siri, text Thomas Wayne.
Tell him to go down Grime Alley, not
text
Crime
Master
Alley.
Wayne, I'll meet you behind Grime Alley. I'll meet you behind Crime Alley. Send? No. Text send. You're like, no. Oh, Jesus.
Shit. Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and across from me is the doctor himself.
What's up?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this like a cool new doctor?
Yeah, it's like...
Maybe we'll get the fans that way. Maybe they won't go to that other
That doesn't even affect us here.
No, it does.
Although I did just get followed by someone who's at DC Comics Podcast, which feels like an assault.
Yeah.
Even though they might have had that first.
We're looking at you, Jaffe. Yeah, he was just infiltrating our podcast so that he could come up with his own concept.
I don't know if Jaffe is behind this.
Well,
but welcome.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was threatening. Welcome.
Yeah. Each week we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC Comics while fielding questions from listeners.
We talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC Comics.
We, and if anyone else does, we got real hostile this week.
There could only be one.
Oh, Highlander DC. I'm here for you.
Yeah.
We've got a review.
Hey.
Look at that. See, some people still love us. This is an old review, though, so.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
They're probably coming. Yeah.
This is like keeping and reading like letters from exes.
Yeah. Or like letters from the war.
Oh, Jesus. I was trying to think of something that would like theoretically be a good memory.
Oh, no, I was talking about the darkness again.
Yeah. I believe in a thing called love.
God, that fucking video is so good. We got a 5-star review, number 140 from Apple Podcast USA, from the one and only Crimson Raven.
Hey.
I'm a fan. They go on to say, great podcast for DC comic newbies. I am primarily a Marvel fan, but wanted to dive into more DC. The podcast has been a great entry point. I've read a bunch of comics I normally wouldn't have bothered with because of them being suggested on this podcast. I've branched out from the basic Bat family books I would have normally stuck to.
That's awesome. That's the whole point.
That's exactly the reason. That's what happened to me, and it's going to happen to you too.
Yeah, it only took me 4 fucking years to break you. I mean, to encourage you.
Yeah, but the fucking flood that commenced...
But now you're broken.
I'm like
you're mind
like a
mold.
fucking stallion. I've just been broken, and you can ride
me. DC Comics Podcast. He's mind to mold.
Weird. I've got
so aggressive.
I just got a DM.
Hey, thanks for following us. Hope you enjoyed.
Yeah,
the show.
there's other DC comic podcasts that follow us.
Sorry, there's what?
Oh, sorry, you didn't know. Talking Superman, the Green Lantern podcast. Is this how you're finding out? Oh no.
I will stop at nothing.
There can only be one.
Close the door if you're coming in.
That seems weirdly threatening. There can only be one. Close the door if you're coming in.
You're the host now, pod.
Oh my God. God, are we starting a Highlander?
Let's start a Finding Forrester
You're
podcast.
the host now, pod.
You're the host now, pod. Just one episode where we rewatch Finding Forrester.
No, it's many episodes, and we only watch Finding Forrester.
We do it Deadeye style.
Yes.
We do like 6-episode seasons.
Just watching the same movie over and over again.
Rewinding Forrester.
Oh my God. I mean, we got too many names. How can we not do
We
it?
just watch it over and over again.
This is
like the Fast and Furious podcast that I'm going to be guesting on tomorrow.
Holy shit. You've got something to promote?
I know. It's crazy. I'm guesting on an episode of Too Fast, Too Forever, a show where they watch the entire Fast and Furious series and then do it again.
You're getting
and I think they're on like lap 10 or something of the series.
You're getting too big for this podcast. You're a real fucking Spate Junior here.
Yeah. You found Forrester.
Oh.
I love it when they say the name of the movie in the movie.
Yes.
It looks like you're trying to find Forrester.
I think it's a Family Guy bit where they're like, what if the movie ended whenever they say the thing?
That would be pretty funny.
Yeah,
like
so
that.
It's just like, now you found Forrester, and the movie just ends. Like, but some movies, it's like in the very beginning.
You have to do it like the Nick Fury.
We've got to save Private Ryan.
You got to do it like the Nick Fury scene at the end of Iron Man.
Would you like you to be part of the Forrester Initiative?
You've joined a greater universe. You don't even know it. You found Forrester. Ba, 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 ba.
Jesus Christ.
The quiet professional genius cinematic universe. Yeah, that Legend of Bagger Vance, Finding Forrester.
Who's that? What's the one where the guy gets schizophrenia?
Oh, Beautiful Mind.
Yeah, Beautiful Minds.
Yeah, it's a real like Avengers of like broken geniuses.
Yeah, depressing movies. Mr. Holland.
Mr. Holland's Opus.
Beautiful. But you got to do the hand movement. What even is this podcast anymore? Finding Forrester and Mr. Holland's Opus references. For who? For whom?
You know what? I'll put the Lord of the Rings one on hold for this.
Yeah. We just do the Quiet Genius miniseries.
Quiet Genius cinematic universe.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
We intend to prove that these take place in the same universe.
That's right, one way or another. Well, no way to get into this.
By the way, thank you for the review.
Oh, yeah, appreciate it. Crimson Ravens, dope.
Yeah.
No way to get into this week's theme because it's fucking the Trinity War and Forever Evil.
Yeah. So as every month, our Golden Age patrons at the $7 level on Patreon, they get to vote for a theme that we do. And so the last episode of every month,
they also eat dinner at 5. They also eat dinner at 3:00. The Golden Age subscribers.
Yeah. Well, because Canasta's at 4.
Yeah.
So this month, I put a few different events out there for them to choose from.
Yeah.
And
wars that start in 3. Evils that may go on for a long time.
The theme is... I have never rigged that vote. I resent the implication.
No idea what I'm talking about.
Gotta get them to pick Thriller.
They picked Thriller. I have no choice.
Complete coincidence.
Yeah.
They picked the Trinity War and Forever Evil. Kind of like they're basically back-to-back events. An event that lead right into an event. It's the first kind of like line-wide event that happened in the New 52. So the New 52 obviously was like big reboot, reset, very continuity heavy between books and lots of inter-references. And these events were the first time that they were like, okay, and now here's how we pay off all of that continuity work, quote unquote, with a big line-wide event. And so it started in Trinity War, which was just between titles, and then led up to Forever Evil, which had its own book, 3 tie-in series, and then a bunch of like the main series had tie-in issues to go with it. So, I mean, the short version of it, for those who haven't read it, Trinity War focuses a lot on this character Pandora, who is largely implicated in the New 52. She is the Pandora of the box. And so Trinity War kind of goes, she's trying to get the sins back in the box. It's corrupting people. Superman kind of goes nuts and kills someone, but they are trying to prove that he didn't, and all this kind of stuff is happening. And at the end of it, you learn that the box isn't a box, it's a doorway to the home of evil, which is Earth 3. The crime syndicate emerges, and then Forever Evil is about the crime syndicate taking the Justice League off the board and taking over the world. And then the villains, a certain group of villains decide, like, no one gets to take over the world but us. And they team up to take down the crime syndicate. So Trinity War is kind of about, like, vaguely about sin and evil and stuff like that. And then Forever Evil, kind of the tagline they used was, like, it's bad versus evil kind of thing. Was the idea. So those are the events we're talking about.
Trying to get the sins back into the box sounds like a devout Catholic's first time they come. Just like, no, get back here.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm going to fill you with envy. Not even lust.
Yeah.
A different one.
No. Envy.
Can we do it again? No, sloth.
No. Yeah. Or refractory period isn't that good. It's the first time. All right. Well, with that, why don't we get into the questions?
You have not read these before.
No, I was going to, but then fables.
Yeah, our scheduling got, like, we fucked up our scheduling. That's okay. I fucked up our schedule.
Yeah, there it is.
Fuck you.
I think I do have it. I'm almost certain that I have it. I think I have a bunch of little, like, tiny, those little, like the bound, like, thin series.
Probably not for those ones.
For Trinity, I feel like Trinity War.
You might have, like, issues or something.
I think it's, like, the thicker issues, the bounded issues.
That doesn't sound right. They were just in regular issues of books, I think.
Yeah, we'll find out later. I think they're up there somewhere. Somewhere up there beneath the pale moonlight. Let's get into the questions.
Lock the door if you're coming in.
Oh my God. First question from Facebook.
Going to the face and the book. Going to the Facebook.
Coming from the one and only sexy Josh Gill.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, aggressive.
Wow. Fucking put the sins back in the box.
Put the Johnny sins. I mean, who? I can't name many porn stars.
It's so fucking funny. Josh Gill, you know what's really funny? Actually, I can't stop. I didn't get stuck in the dryer, but
Come on.
I was trying to, like, get a sock in the back of a dryer this morning, and I didn't want to pull all the stuff out and fold it, so I, like, climbed inside the dryer, and then, like, I didn't get stuck, but I definitely thought about it.
Thought about getting stuck?
Well, no, just thought about the moment. Where I was like, it's not as crazy as it seems when you're in here.
I mean, it's a little crazy.
Josh Gill asks...
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Man, Pandora was such a dope, promising character. Really wish they would have explored her more. That said, the Trinity of Sin and the story as a whole would have been a lot stronger had it been Phantom Stranger, Pandora, and Spectre instead of Question.
So we talked a little bit about
in the last
all
episode.
of this stuff last week when we had Alex Jaffe on, when we were talking about the Question, because part of the New 52 was there was this mystery of, well, I mean, not even fully a mystery, but just this sort of, like, spooky thing of the Trinity of Sin.
Sure.
Pandora, you see her, I think she first appears in Flashpoint number 5, and she kind of, like, fucks with Flash putting time back together, and it kind of merges DC and Wildstorm and some of the Vertigo universes together, which creates the New 52 continuity. But then you were like, who the fuck was Pandora?
Yeah.
And then she showed up she's in every number 1 issue of the New 52.
Wow.
Sometimes just in the background or things like, but she's in every one. And she's like, oh, who's Pandora?
Yeah.
Pandora, blah, blah, blah. They're building this thing. You learn at the very start of the Trinity War, arc event, that she and the Phantom Stranger and the Question are considered the Trinity of Sin, and the Council of Eternity, which consists of the Wizard Shazam and a bunch of other powerful mages, condemn the 3 of them as the worst sinners ever, and they all kind of get variations on the same punishment, which is you're kind of condemned to live forever, wander the earth, have to confront your shit all the time.
Yeah.
The Questions thing is like, he doesn't remember who he is and no one knows who he is. And he has, like, questions come to him and he is compelled to solve them. And
we saw that in that question book we read where he, like, doesn't know who he is. And
I mean, Yeah, I mean, it's
he's
slightly
in the jungle and he doesn't know who he is.
Slightly different in that one. This one is like mystically, his like identity is gone, and he has to pursue this like. But yeah, vaguely. Phantom Stranger is Judas Iscariot, and his punishment for betraying Christ, he has to wander as a stranger and can't really be part of the world and stuff like that. And Pandora has to live and just experience the fact that she released sin into the world and shit like that. And they had a series and stuff like that, and it never really went anywhere. We never really found out who the Question was, that he was so bad or anything. We never figured really any of that out. But Pandora is the linchpin of Trinity War, because she gets Pandora's box back and she's like, I am going to fucking fix this. She's like, it's fucked that this happened in the first place. I shouldn't even really be blamed for it. This is kind of beyond me.
Yeah.
But I'm going to fucking fix it. And so she has to find someone who is either like purest of heart or darkest of heart to open the box. And so she tries
What's in the box?
She tries to get Superman to do it. She tries to get Vandal Savage to do it. She tries to get Luthor to do it. All of these different versions.
Superman's not pure enough of heart?
Well, the kind of like story thing is that it's because the box isn't actually a box. It's a doorway, and it's a gateway to evil. Only you learn it's only someone from that evil world can do it. And this character called the Outsider.
Good. I was really worried it was going to be like Joker or something.
No, this character called the Outsider, who is Earth 3 Alfred Pennyworth.
Whoa.
Opens it and
not the Outsiders.
No, and brings the crime syndicate forth, basically. Yeah, I like the idea of Pandora as a character. She was kind of cool. She had these. I mean, it was kind of. There's a part of it that's a little bit dumb, where she goes around with these guns and stuff or whatever, and she like shoots sins.
When is this from?
New 52, so like
2013.
We're talking like 2011 to 2013 or 14, somewhere in there. Forever Evil happened somewhere in like the early 20s of issues of the New 52. So that's roughly 2 years in.
Sure.
So 2013-ish is what we're saying. 13, 14. She has the potential to be cool. Like the idea of like exploring sin and stuff like that. I mean, traditionally territory for Shazam and something like that. So maybe if you're a Shazam or Captain Marvel fan, you feel slightly slighted by Pandora coming in and dealing with the sins and things like that. But she had potential. She wasn't just a full write-off character, but it never really solidified. And during Forever Evil, even, it didn't really do much, or not much happened with it. And ultimately, she is unceremoniously killed by Dr. Manhattan in DC Universe Rebirth #1. As sort of a symbolic, the New 52 is over. He explodes her, basically.
I realize the book I have is not Trinity War, it's Trinity.
I know. You got to listen to me. I'm kind of the expert.
Sorry, were you saying something?
Yeah, for the people that are new to the podcast, like at DC Comics Podcast, I'm the expert.
You know that I'm
so insecure.
I'm so confident in that fact. That's why I keep repeating it.
I know it. I know the stuff.
Except for Alex Jaffe, he kind of knows more than me.
Shut the fuck up, man.
But other than him, man, it's all you, buddy.
Well, Kyle Clark knows a lot, too.
Yeah, he does know a lot.
You're reading a lot now.
People really like butt fart.
Bunch of our listeners know more.
Yeah. Your fucking sandcastle life is crumbling around you. All right, let's move on to the next.
I'll do whatever I want. Yes, sure. Let's move on, though. That's my suggestion.
God, you're cool. We're leaving Facebook and heading on over to Twitter.
That's Twitter.
Well, even that wasn't confident. First question comes from Adam Talking Superman, who asks, do you feel it was a benefit or detriment that Joker was missing during the time of Forever Evil?
Right.
I mean, exactly. That's what I immediately thought was.
So in the beginning of the New 52, there's a moment that happens, I think, in Detective Comics, where the Joker goes to this character called the Doll Maker and has him cut his face off.
His face off.
Yeah. And then the Joker disappears. and he's gone for a bit. I mean, it's not quite how faces work. He's like, well, his face is gone. We'll never recognize him.
Yes.
He's like, hey, does that guy not have a face?
Yeah.
Hey, it's him.
Yeah.
But at any rate, the idea was like Joker's biding his time.
Yeah.
He eventually comes back for Death of the Family, where he steals his face back and wears it like a mask. Extreme.
Yes.
But it's actually it's pretty dope. It can be overdone, but it's still kind of dope. So he's gone during this time. He's missing. No one knows where he is. And there's a moment in Forever Evil where no one knows what's happened to the Justice League. People presume they're dead. The Crime Syndicate has invited all of the villains of Earth to the crashed watchtower.
Oh.
And basically say, you work for us now. If you listen to us, you can carve up your own little territories, but we run this world.
Oh, wow.
And the villains are all basically expected to fall in line. And there's some kind of background thing with some of the villains of Gotham there in that meeting. It might be Penguin or someone who's just like, he's fucking here. I know he's fucking here. He's wearing someone else's face.
Oh,
like,
wow.
The other villains are like, where the I hate not knowing where fucking Joker is.
It's worse that you don't know.
I think, generally, though, to answer the question, it's a benefit to the story that Joker is not there. Not just because, in the general sense, Joker is overexposed. But Joker is the one...
It's so too chaotic.
Joker is one of very few characters who kind of breaks the conceit of Forever Evil. Because the Forever Evil conceit is, we're bad guys, but this is still our world.
Yeah.
And some of them sign on with the Crime Syndicate, or some don't. But the general conceit is like, we're bad guys, but that's evil. Even though they're also like evil in their own ways.
Yes.
But who are the two characters notably absent from Forever Evil? Joker, Reverse Flash. Two characters who I would argue are
evil. Categorically
fully evil. That I'm not saying the rest of the villains of the DCU aren't evil.
Did you say that you think those bad guys are good guys?
I'm just saying like there's good people on all sides.
You're just saying that they had a lot of good ideas.
It's just a peaceful protest.
Yeah. Freedom fighters.
I'm not saying none of those people are evil or have the capacity for evil or things like that. But if you take it at face value that that's the conceit of the book, two characters who would fundamentally break it are Joker and Reverse Flash.
Well, because
I think it does make sense that they aren't there.
Yeah, because their actions are based on doing bad things. The other guys are like, at least they have like reasoning behind
because
their
even
actions.
in Metal, the first Metal event, Batman and Joker team up to fight the Batman Who Laughs. But even that is not Joker going, I'm bad, but he's evil.
Yeah.
It's Joker going, that's an abomination.
Sure.
Like, me and the Bat get fucked. Like, that shouldn't be.
Like, I think about me entwined with the Bat, but not like that.
He's like, it's not a this is a worse evil thing. It's a I can't let this stand.
Yeah. He's
He's like a better Joker than I am.
Sure.
It's that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So that kind of works there. I don't think it would work for Forever Evil.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Next question comes from our favorite religious representative,
Chris Chan.
That's right, Chris Chan, who asks, did these events help or hinder their respective creators' careers?
Okay, so Trinity War happens between a bunch of books.
Okay.
Like across a bunch of books. I mean, it didn't have like its own series like some events do.
Sure.
It was just like issues of Justice League.
They're all just like tie-in
issues
stuff.
of Justice League Dark, issues
Sure,
of
yeah.
it was like that kind of shit. So you get like Johns and Lemire and Ivan Rice and David Finch and
sounds like the people like it has no effect on them.
I'm missing people, of course, but you had those types in there. Forever Evil, the book, it like the main title itself was Johns and Finch. I kind of think this book doesn't affect. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, Bruno will come at me because I already know he doesn't like this event. But like Forever Evil, very broadly, publicly considered to be a success. Trinity War, largely considered a mess. But the payoff of Forever Evil, people were like, that it worked. It was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
not a ton of real like full like that's garbage weak links in it. You know, some pieces are better than others, but they pulled off a line-wide event in their new continuity. It was compelling. It was interesting. It had some cool moments.
Yeah.
Art was good. The writing was fine. It did its job. It was generally seen as like, this is pretty good. But it wasn't one of those things where it was like, holy shit, Forever Evil, give Johns everything. I mean, Johns already had the keys to the kingdom.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, Lemire already is on everything.
Johns had the keys to the kingdom, and this did not change that.
Yeah.
He still got to write Justice League. He got to do Darkseid War, also considered to be generally very good. You know, like the fall of Johns comes later than this. Lemire still did like, yeah, I mean, Lemire was doing lots of DC work, still does some on occasion, but is more focused on his indie stuff. But if anything, Lemire's star continues to rise, whether or not he's at DC. David Finch continued to do work at he's an artist on the early bits of the King run of Batman.
It sounds like
there's like I don't think this event I don't think it helped or hurt anybody. I think it was like the people that were in it were already DC folk, and they continued to be when it was done. It basically didn't. I would argue it didn't do either.
Well, here's the thing. I find that like event stuff that is across multiple creators typically is never going to affect anybody that much. Like if it's a single creator's like dream or like their vision, then I find that, yeah, sure, there's a better chance of it affecting them. But if it's multitude of creators, it's like it's none of their own property.
Well, I think we could be pretty secure in saying most of this is or whatever is architected by Johns, because he has a lot of creative control over the line.
Sure,
at this point
yeah,
in time.
yeah, but it's still like.
But the one caveat I'll put in is I can't necessarily remember everyone like who all like the writers and artists were on like the Phantom Stranger title or on like Constantine or on like it's possible that someone from there has their star rise after this, but I still don't know that I'd point to Trinity War Forever Evil and say this is why, other than just they delivered on this big event we wanted them to. But like I don't think it was that people reading it were like, give this person a, like, you know what I mean?
Do you think that
I don't remember that at least? And this was around the time I was jumping back in.
Like it's not
literally Forever Evil is I was like, that sounds interesting. I was kind of back on during the New 52, but only kind of scattered. And then Forever Evil, I was like, I guess I'm just in.
It's not like Tom King with like Mr. Miracle.
No.
Right? And I think that's the thing is like when it's like a sole creator's like vision, there's a better chance that they have to live and die with that piece that they developed, right? But it also is like balanced against like a body of work. And if it's like they have no body of work and then create a piece of shit, there's a good chance that they'll be affected by it. If they have a large body of work and make a piece of shit, there's probably less of a chance of them getting taken down, unless it's like saying something really offensive.
There's also the thing too of you don't hand your whatever the end product ends up being, you don't hand your proverbial big event to people you're taking a risk on.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like we don't give Wolfman and Perez Crisis.
Sure.
Without them being Wolfman and Perez. We don't give you know, like every event kind of has that shit to it. So I have a hard time. Yeah, I don't. It didn't end anybody's day.
If For Tomorrow didn't end anybody's career, then
also
this
didn't
won't.
start anything.
Right?
Not perceptibly for me as a reader, at least.
Yeah, pussy eating jokes don't take somebody down, then I don't think this will.
What?
All right. Next question coming from Alexander the Alex, who asks, Jeff Johns usually works with artists like Gary Frank and Ivan Reich. Any thoughts on David Finch and how his style works for this book?
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up. I actually think David Finch is the right call for the main Forever Evil title.
Interesting.
And there's something about, again, I sometimes lack the art vocabulary. There's something about the way David Finch draws faces where everybody looks an equal amount of stern. which I think in other books might be a detriment. But when you're drawing someone that almost is identical looking to Superman, but maybe you can't see that it's a U on his chest instead of an S, that quality of David Finch's is like, oh, yeah, he's clearly bad Superman. That's Ultraman. Like, there's something about it that kind of works. Well, it lines up, I think, aesthetically. I think his drawing of Bizarro is very strong. And I really like, I actually think he's got some really like dynamic action sequences in that series. Sinestro fighting Power Ring looks really cool. You know, Batman puts on a Sinestro core ring at one point during the book, and you know, like there's some of these moments that are like extremely mainstream, but like pretty cool. You know, like Power Rings or something like Beware My Power, right? It's the Earth 3 Green Lantern, and Batman says, no, beware mine, and he puts on like a Sinestro core ring, and it's like that's cool shit. Or
hell yeah.
You know, the Earth 3 Alexander Luthor Jr. is Mazas. He's like their Shazam.
Oh.
And there's a very cool climactic fight between him and Lex Luthor. Like our Lex Luthor, which is awesome. And I really like that. And I think it's done very well.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I actually think his art style works, partly because he does have that very kind of stern thing, but he also, I think he draws people with the appropriate level of like stockiness. You know, especially for a book that's
kind of like Alex Ross a bit, like.
I mean, I don't know about that, but I just mean, in a book about characters and philosophies of like might makes right, because the conceit of Earth 3 is not just that it's flipped, it's that even the good on Earth 3 is bad.
Sure.
Like the whole world is bent towards bad and evil. So even like their heroes like Mazas, who is an enemy of the crime syndicate, is bad. He'll kill people, take their powers and shit.
It's like the mirror universe.
Kind of, yeah. Essentially, it's a might makes right sort of thing. And I do think Finch's art, it does a good job of subtly kind of conveying that feeling throughout the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how calculated a move that was, but I think it's serendipitous at least.
Like, do you think it's more successful that it was with him rather than his usual artists?
Frank and Rice could have done this book, but Gary Frank, I'm trying to phrase this in a way that's not like offensive. I think Gary Frank is too detailed.
Oh, okay.
He works on a book like Doomsday Clock. You want something to look very like particular and finessed and kind of like Dave Gibbons, or like you see his run on Superman where Superman looks so much like Christopher Reeve. You know, like Gary Frank excels in that shit. He would pull this book off. It would look great, but is 100% the fit for like a mainline commercial event?
Sure.
Probably not, you know? David Finch is he's a little more house style and then also has this quality to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, next question comes from Braydon. Yes, the donkey rises, who asks, what are your thoughts on Lex Luthor and his Injustice League being the ones who saved the world in this story? And how much do you think Batman hates the fact that he had to take orders from Lex?
Right. So, you don't learn it till later in the event, but the Justice League is not dead, as the crime syndicate says they are. But they've been trapped in the Firestorm Matrix. So they are kind of like not physically present.
Sure.
Firestorm has become like a living prison for them.
Okay.
Except for Batman and Catwoman, who managed to get away and shit like that. So in the Fallout, Lex is like, I don't count out of fucking somebody else. And he starts kind of loosely assembling what he eventually calls the Injustice League, which is him. He has to...
Isn't there already an Injustice Society?
It's the New 52, so this was like the birth of the Injustice League, because it's new continuity, right?
Sure.
Like, but yes, historically, in other comics, there are other versions. Yeah. So Luthor has to like defrost his unfinished Superman clone which is Bizarro.
Yes.
Because he's like, God, I was hoping to have
this is the
thing
weirder
for later,
Bizarro,
but I need it now.
Yeah, it's the not as good Bizarro.
But it's not my favorite version of Bizarro, but the way they do it in this book really works.
It's an interesting concept.
He's kind of like a puppy dog for Lex.
Who wrote this?
Johns.
Yeah, okay.
It works, though. I like it. He kind of has these big black eyes, and he's afraid of the dark, and Lex has to help him.
Yeah, he's very
gives Lex
sweet with
a
him.
flower.
Yeah,
There's a very... I think it's interesting. So it's Lex, Bizarro, Black Manta fishes like Black Adam out of the sea because Black Adam gets like his shit run by Ultraman.
Oh, okay.
And then they kind of join up. Captain Cold joins up. Sinestro eventually joins them. They find Batman. Batman has to team up with them. And so that's kind of like you get in the shape. That's the Injustice League in kind of broad strokes. I like that Lex saves the day because it's this moment for him where he's like, I'll do what the heroes can't, and I'm going to fucking lord it over them.
Yes.
And it's going to fucking, like, he ends up becoming a member of the Justice League because of it.
Wow.
Because he's just like, you owe me everything.
Yeah.
It's such a classic Lex thing where it's like, he'll do that because he's got an end.
He doesn't even really want any of it. Like,
he just doesn't want them in charge.
Yes.
Because he's Lex. No one's going to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Fuck you. This is my world. You think I had a problem with Superman being an alien? And he was relatively good. I'm not going to let some fucking otherworlders come in here and run our shit. So it's like very on brand. It like works really well for me. I kind of like the general motivations of the other. Like Manta signs up because he's like, they took Aquaman from me. It's like, I kill Aquaman. No one else fucking kills Aquaman.
Oh, that's interesting.
And
it's like the Joker's relationship with Batman. Yeah,
kind of. And so he signs up. Captain Cold is like, we like the rogues like signed on for this, but they wanted us to like kill kids and shit. And we're like not. So the rogues have their own like tie-in where like they're on the run from the crime syndicate and stuff because they were like, we're not doing that shit. Like, so they all have different reasons for signing up, but I like it. I think it works. It's very cool.
Well, that brings
and they're
up
all kind of like Manta aside, they're all kind of like morally. And Lex occasionally side of the angels, Black Adam, occasionally side of the angels, Captain Cold, we got that honor among thieves thing with them. Sinestro believes himself to be right, isn't, you know what I mean? Like they all kind of have that quality, so they work as a team that would do this as well.
Sure.
They're not all like psychopaths and shit,
Yeah. Well, that conversation about the rogues is a good tie into this next question, which is from Greg Fine, who asks, which of the tie-ins are good and what happened in them?
Right. Okay. So Forever Evil had its own title. That's the main story of the event.
Yeah.
There was one called Forever Evil Arkham War. And that one was the villains of Gotham have taken over Gotham City. And it's sort of the big fight in there.
Sure.
It's fine. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really overly contribute to the story, but it's like, what's going on over there? And it's fine. Mm-hmm. Forever Evil Rogues Rebellion is interesting. Because I do like the sort of, like, we signed on, but like, we just want to rob banks. Like, we're not really. I think it's good because it's very true to their characters. And of course, Johns loves the rogues and stuff like that. So that was kind of neat. And I think that also helps largely reset them because in the New 52, they do this thing where the rogues take all of their weaponry and gadgets and feed it into this machine that rewrites their DNA to give them powers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But they all fuck up. Like Weather Wizard can like hear the weather and he's like, "Wait, won't stop talking to me." And like they have shit like that. And this event, I think, largely undoes it, or at least resets some things. Captain Cold basically gets the cold like stripped out of his DNA by Deathstorm, which is the Earth 3 firestorm. So that was kind of neat. There's Forever Evil Argus, which kind of follows like Steve Trevor and shit, and they're trying to like it ties in a little bit more to the story in that they're trying to get at wherever Firestorm is and shit like that, because they kind of figure out that the Justice League is trapped or some shit like that, if I'm not mistaken. Deathstroke's after them. There's some stuff like that. It's fine. And then in like the main titles, there is all the magic characters, so all the magic books, so Constantine, Phantom Stranger, Justice League Dark, whatever else there were. We're doing this big thing called Forever Evil Blight, where while the main thing was happening, the magic characters had to fight like the embodiment of evil and malevolence, like as concepts.
Oh, wow.
And so they had this big kind of arc, and they possessed the body of Sea King, which is the Earth 3 Aquaman, and they kind of go on this big thing. It's a little meandery, but I actually like Forever Evil Blight. I think it's pretty interesting. I dig it.
Mm-hmm.
In Justice League of America, it's Stargirl and Martian Manhunter, and they're trying to escape a telepathic prison. Because again, everyone's trapped in the Firestorm Matrix, and they're trying to escape a telepathic prison. They're fighting Despero, but you learn even that is a prison. It's sort of like a Matrix nesting doll kind of thing. And that does eventually lead back to where we get in like Forever Evil 7, where they have to like get everyone out of the Firestorm Matrix before it becomes unstable and he blows up and they all die or whatever. And there's so that's pretty cool. And then in the Justice League title, each issue was sort of, well, for a bit, each issue was like the origin of one of the crime syndicate members. So you'd get the origin of Ultraman. So in that world, he's called Kal-El. And shit like that. Or you'd see Harold Jordan become Power Ring, and you'd see whatever else. And then the back half of that was Cyborg has to get rebuilt with new machine parts because his previous machine parts separate from his organic body and call themselves Grid and join the crime syndicate.
Jesus.
It's pretty fucked up. That's right at the end of Trinity War that happens. So he gets rebuilt, and then with the Metal Men, he goes after Grid. So it's Cyborg versus Grid, and that's a kind of a cool story. So that's a decent tie-in too.
That sounds rad.
Yeah, so I would say overall, relatively solid. Nothing like complete garbage, but the ones that are worth reading, in my opinion. I like Forever Evil Blight. I like the Justice League tie-ins that are the origins of the crime syndicate, and then the Cyborg and the Metal Men thing.
Sure.
And I like Rogues Rebellion, where you're following the rogues, the rest of the rogues, not Captain Cold, because he's in the main title. But I like those ones.
Yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Next question comes from a lesbian of many names who asks, Forever Evil featured Villains Month, which involved a bunch of one-shots involving various villains outside of the direct tie-ins. Right. Did any of them have any actual impact?
Right. So you might have a couple of these. I think I've seen you get some. There's a bunch of books that are like numbered like 23.1 or 23.2
yeah, I've got some
or whatever.
Yeah, I got some of that.
So the idea was in the month of September, I think, of that year.
Yeah.
Every issue that came out had like a cross through the main title. They put a villain's name on it. It would be like their number one issue. So instead of like Detective Comics, it would be like Bane #1, or instead of
cute
Justice League of America, would be Shadow Thief #1. And so all these villains got it. Here's the thing. A bunch of them are just unrelated. They're just like origin stories or stories of them. And then maybe at the end they get the invitation to the secret society or some shit like that. But it's a little bit clever in that a bunch of these characters had shown up already, but we're 2 years into the New 52, and this is a quick way to be like, and this is everyone's origin, or this is a story of all sorts of different villains.
No matter who you are, here's how you'll understand.
Yeah, here's like 50 titles, like one-shot stories of different villains the way they are right now.
Yeah.
Because Shadow Thief wasn't Carl Sands, it was Aviva Matula. It was a different version of Shadow.
So it gives you that context. So yeah,
totally. Or the Solomon Grundy wasn't the one we know because that was from Earth 2. So what's Earth 2 Solomon Grundy's deal? Or you get Dial.
Born on a Tuesday.
Dial E was an interesting one. It was like a villain month one for Dial H.
Yeah.
Like there was neat things out there. For the most part, if they were connected, it was very like topically. Like at the end, Scarecrow shows up and goes like, "You're invited to the secret society," like kind of shit. There are a couple that have like story impact, like a couple of the ones for like Justice League of America. There's one that's like the secret society, and I think it's narrated by the Outsider, and so he's talking about how, you know, I made it through to this world, but the rest didn't. It's my job to get them all the way here. Because you learn through these events, the crime syndicate is fleeing their world.
Oh.
Because their world is destroyed. So they decide to come here to take it over. But you're like, well, what destroyed their world?
Yeah.
So you like, there's this thing that's kind of, and that's kind of woven into that secret society one. I feel like the Black Adam one has a little bit to do with it. There's maybe a couple of others, but for the most part, they're kind of like, they're almost more just like fun diversions.
I kind of like it.
I like a bunch of them, but like, I wouldn't go in expecting like, this is really going to flesh out Forever Evil.
Sure.
It's not really what they're doing. A couple of them do a little bit, but not by a ton.
Gives you context.
Yeah.
All right, let's leave Twitter and head on over to Instagram.
Now we're going to Instagram, take some questions and answer them.
First question comes from Stump Chunkman.
Step into the stump! Stump Chunkman!
Who asks, was the evil forever?
No.
Oh, okay.
Next question.
All right.
No, I mean, obviously they defeat the crime syndicate, but
yes.
I'll take this as an opportunity to talk about some of the things I like about the sort of final confrontation between the Injustice League and the crime syndicate, because it's not just, well, we freed the Justice League and then they saved the day.
Yeah. That's
not how it happens.
Oh, really?
The Injustice League saves the day, and then they free the Justice League.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So, there's I'll talk about a couple of kind of cool moments that I enjoy. Captain Cold has a cool moment with Johnny Quick, the Earth 3 Flash, where he goes after him. Captain Cold has no powers again, but he's remade his cold gun, and Johnny Quick's got him, and he's holding the cold gun, and he's like, what did you think you were gonna do? I can move faster than you can think. Like, you fucking idiot! I'm gonna fucking kill you. And Captain Cold just says like, "Jingle bells, Batman smells," and the gun like beeps and fires at Johnny Quick's leg, and he goes, "Voice command," and kicks his leg and shatters it.
Oh my God.
Johnny Quick doesn't have a leg anymore, and then he gets killed.
Holy shit!
But it's like, it's kind of a cool moment. He's like, "I'm not as dumb as I fucking look." He's like, I think he has some line where he's like, "I'm not just some fucking mook. I'm the man who mastered absolute zero, motherfucker," which is like pretty cool. I like that one.
I like that. That's awesome.
Black Manta. Oh, Atomica, who's like a Earth 3 atom.
Sure.
Tries to get at this is a little bit dumb. She tries to shrink to get in Black Manta's suit, but she's like, it's totally sealed down to the atomic level, which is like that doesn't make any sense. But whatever, just go with it. Fine. I think he just ends up stepping on her or some shit like that, which is interesting. Power Ring gets his arm cut off by Sinestro, and the thing with Power Ring is, on our Earth, if you have a lot of will and courage, the Ring chooses you.
Yeah.
On Earth 3, the Ring is looking for someone weak and cowardly that it can dominate.
Oh, yes.
And so when he cuts Power Ring's arm off, Harold Jordan has this moment where he's like, "Thank you." Because he's
wow.
He was like, finally, the voice stopped. Like,
that's interesting.
Which is kind of cool. Ultraman gets depowered. Superwoman, I can't remember how they stop her, but they do. The Mazas. So the crime syndicate has brought this prisoner with them, and he has a bag over his head the whole time. You're like, who is it? Who is it? It's revealed to be Alexander Luthor Jr., their greatest enemy from Earth 3, but they brought him because they're like, whatever destroyed our Earth, we're going to need this fucking guy because he's very powerful.
Yeah.
He gets ungagged. He says, "Mazas," and he turns into Mazas, the Earth 3 Shazam. And he kind of has this thing where when he could take people's power. Shazam can share his power. Mazas can take people's powers. But he and Luthor have a big fight. And he kind of is like gloating and shit. And he's like punching Luthor. And he's like, you think you're, like, I'm stronger than you. I'm faster than you. I'm fucking better than you. And Luthor says something like, but I'm smarter than you. And I have your voice. And he says, Mazas, and the lightning comes down, turns him back, and he stabs him and kills him. He depowers him and kills him.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is kind of like a cool moment that I enjoyed a lot. Yeah, there's a few pieces like that I really like.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah. Because it's one of those ones where because it's the villains, you can kind of be like, oh, they're going to go out bloody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
can't do that with Justice League. Yeah.
I don't want that with Justice League, right? But like with this, it's like you kind of get the best of both worlds where it's like, oh man, that's not what the Justice League would do. It's like, but the Justice League wasn't around.
It's kind of like Suicide Squad, right? Like,
yeah, and totally. It's the thing you like about Suicide Squad, basically. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, the next question comes from ABC.
Brooks.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3.
Brooks.
Easy as Do, Re, Mi.
Brooks.
ABC.
Brooks. 1,
2, 3.
Brooks.
Baby, you and me. Brooks.
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 Brooks. Brooks. Brooks. Brooks. Brooks. Brooks. Brooks.
Nice. It's been a while.
I know. It's been a while.
ABC.
Brooks.
Since I'm gone and Brooks things up just like our ABC.
ABC Brooks asks, how great was that relationship between Lex and Bizarro in Forever Evil? Also, did Pandora get a fair shake in the New 52, or did she deserve better? Sort of answered both of these already, but
I love that Lex Bizarro relationship.
Yeah.
Because Lex sort of starts off by being kind of like, oh, Jesus, he's so fucking needy.
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, I actually can't remember who it is. If it's either Mazas or Ultraman, like punches like a hole through Bizarro, like a full fist dent in his chest, and Bizarro dies, and Lex is like that, like he kind of, it's like you killed his dog. Like he kind of John Wicks a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think I like that even Lex is a bit surprised at how emotionally connected to Bizarro he is. Like I like that. Totally. And it's weirdly sweet, like I like it. I think it's very cute. I think it works. Is that my favorite version of Bizarro? No, but for 7 issues, 100% I'm in. I like it.
Totally.
Pandora. I do think she's done a little dirty, because it's one of those things where I feel like they didn't have the idea for her. They didn't really know what it was. And they kind of made it up. Or maybe they knew they wanted to get to the crime syndicate eventually, but like, why is Pandora, who is like a sinner in our reality, all of a sudden outside all of it in Flashpoint, merging things together?
Mm-hmm.
You have to, the world must be strong enough or whatever. And then like that piece doesn't really come back. You know what I mean? Like they almost make her out to be like the fucking Spectre. Like she's bigger than these things that are happening. Yeah. And then she isn't really. And I think if you didn't make her this kind of big anchor point in Flashpoint, but that she just became this character that just was showing up and it was just tied to the crime syndicate and evil and stuff like that, I think maybe it's more interesting than trying to pretend that she's a big cosmic force that she kind of doesn't end up being.
It kind of feels
like unceremoniously killed in an alley by Dr. Manhattan.
Feels like monetary, but not as impactful.
That's the problem. They set her up that way, but that's not what she is, or certainly not what she became. So it's either like, why did you abandon that? Or did you forget? Or was it just like, well, we put her in all the first issues because it's like a mystery, and so we got to put her in Flashpoint so people know what to look for.
Yeah,
like it's just a little too like, we don't have an idea, but this will sell.
Yes,
I think it's too craven. It's not like a real artistic idea, and I think that's the problem.
Totally. All right, let's leave Instagram and head on over to the Doc Scored. The Doc Scored.
It docks like a squad.
Ooh.
But it feels so docks.
All right. I'm surprised you're not doing
Cuts like a
meatloaf.
knife. I'm still mourning.
Oh, fair. But it's dark out.
Oh. Fine. You want me to do meatloaf?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one time I'm gonna
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'll do meatloaf. Okay. Like a duck's at a scold, I'll be dogs when the scolding comes.
I always want to know what you're gonna go
when
for.
the night is scolding, like a duck's in the scold, I'll be ducks and scold. Like a duck's in a scold.
all right. Okay.
I'm not done.
Oh no.
It's an 8-minute song.
No. First question from the talk
When
score.
the ducks is scolding,
Coming from Brother Crow.
the ducks go coming through.
What role does
Then like a ducks before the scold of ducks gonna be scolding my
He's pushing himself so much he's gonna pass out soon.
You.
Yeah.
Then
All right. Okay.
ducks,
What role does Constantine and the Justice League Dark play in Trinity War / Forever Evil? This book had a lot of crossovers, so I didn't really get into it.
Repeat the question, please.
Son of a bitch. From Brother Crow, he asks, what role does Constantine and the Justice League Dark play in Trinity War Forever Evil? This book had a lot of crossovers, so I didn't really get into it.
So in Trinity War, because Pandora is magically based and characters like Phantom Stranger and the Question are involved as the so-called Trinity of Sin.
Sure, yeah.
The Justice League Dark gets implicated because the Pandora's box is magical, and so it's like, we need Zatanna for this, and then Constantine's like, oh, that's too dark, mate, or whatever his fucking accent is.
You got real close to
I
Cajun
know.
Wolverine there.
Oh,
You got done. What's this?
got that John Constantine.
Yeah, you're gonna crowd that when that Constantine.
Constantine at one point tries to take Shazam off the board because he's worried that Shazam is too powerful.
Sure.
And not like in control of his magic. And what ends up happening is he gets Shazam to depower and then he magically swaps their voices so Shazam can't call his power back. And then Constantine uses the Shazam power for a little bit, which is just like, that's just like a what if Constantine had the powers of Shazam kind of moment. It doesn't really do much other than kind of setting up the fact that just switching the voice is enough to call the magic to the wrong person.
Yeah.
Which kind of supports what Lex does at the
Yeah.
end, which is like, I have your voice, calls down Mazas's lightning.
Totally.
So, that might be giving too much credit, but it is technically a little bit of a threat.
It sets up a rule and follows it. Yeah.
Phantom Stranger in Trinity War brings Batman, Katana, and Deadman to heaven to try to retrieve the soul of Dr. Light, who Superman has accidentally killed, because they're like, Dr. Light could prove that Superman didn't mean to kill him. And they go to heaven, and Zoriel is like, we told you not to fucking come here, stranger. And all this kind of shit happens. The Question kind of leads people on a bit of a wild goose chase. It doesn't really do much. In Forever Evil, like I said, the magic characters end up fighting Blight, which is kind of like the collective consciousness of evil sort of idea.
Mm-hmm.
They go off and do that. That's sort of where they are for most of that. In Trinity War, they're a little bit more woven into the main thing, but it's all pretty loose.
Sure.
Like, Trinity War is extremely messy. Like, the idea that there's even a story to it is like giving it too much credit.
Fair.
It's basically just like we have a manufactured heroes fighting heroes thing for like 8 issues before the Crime Syndicate shows up.
Sure.
It really doesn't need to be there. It's not. They try to play it off like this was the Outsider's plan the whole time, but it's like that's the plan. This was the plan. It's a little too convoluted. There's a little too many arbitrary like double crosses and shit like that.
Yeah.
But Forever Evil's a little more streamlined, and that's why it's just like magic characters handle this thing.
Yeah.
Rogues over here. Injustice League here. Like, it's a little, you can see it's cleaner, and the Trinity War was clearly like, but how do we start this? Like,
Fair. Remove the.
Yeah, it's cleaner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's leave this question and go on to the next one from Butt Brother Dan, who asks, if the crime syndicate is from a world that tilts in favor of selfishness, could you argue they only lost because they were on Prime Earth? Would the Justice League always be doomed to lose if they went to Earth 3? I mean, we're about to find out.
I mean, well, yeah,
we're about to go to battle for Earth 3.
I mean, that Earth 3 thing is interesting. So you're right. There's still licitations and stuff coming up. The Suicide Squad is going to Earth 3. There's like Waller's trying to take over Earth 3 for reasons beyond me.
Yeah.
But even that Earth 3 is more like the previous iterations of Earth 3. A little less like this New 52 version that was like, our world is evil.
Sure.
So even good on this world is corrupted by it.
Yeah.
That Earth 3 is a little less like that. It's a little more just like a flipped.
Yes.
Kind of the way it was in like the Silver Age and shit like that. There are like good people on Earth 3, but
sure.
It's like Leonard Snart's a good guy. You know what I mean?
It's like more of like a bizarro-y kind of thing.
Yes, closer to something like that. So you're right. And they could still play with this idea, but that's even like a little different version than what we're getting in
Interesting.
This. However, all of that being said, that idea is slightly a Morrison joint. The idea of like, if your world is structured that way, then that's how your stories go. Like, so happens the crime syndicate wins on that. It wins on that Earth because they're the Justice League of Evil.
Yes.
So of course they win.
Yeah.
I mean, they ultimately lose to whoever destroyed their Earth, right?
But I mean, that's what we're asking here is that like that's because they were on Prime Earth.
But
so theoretically, if they were on that Earth 3,
well, I mean, they even lose on Earth 3, right? Because they're fleeing that world.
Yeah.
But that's not really the good versus evil thing.
Sure,
you're right. Do the Justice League only win because they're on a world where evil will lose even to bad over? Right? Yeah, would it be flipped? I think you could make the argument that if the Justice League goes to Earth 3, I don't
like cosmic scales lean towards them.
Cosmic scales lean towards now. The other supporting evidence I have for this is death metal.
Sure, yeah.
In death metal, Perpetua and Apex Lex and the Legion of Doom and the Apex Predators sort of systematically destroy worlds of the multiverse.
Sure.
Except for the worlds that already lean towards doom or evil.
Yeah.
The worlds that, according to Perpetua, are closer to what she wanted the multiverse to be. Not justice, but this. So that includes Earth 3. It includes Earth 40, which is like the pulp bad guy Earth.
Nice.
It includes Earth 13, which, though not explicitly evil, is like the dark magic. That's where there's Etrigan the super demon, who like is sent off in a rocket from planet Camelot. Kind of like he's that's that Earth. Like those are the Earths that like survive.
Okay.
And get like the multiverse towers or whatever on them. So the premise there is still building on that idea that it's like those worlds are they tend towards doom and evil and these cosmic forces. That's the arc of their thing. So they're being allowed to survive because they're going to pull the rest of the multiverse that way, right? Like, so I think there is evidence for that. I'd be interested to see in this upcoming Earth 3 thing how that plays out.
Mm-hmm. If
they deal with that at all, or if it's just we're fighting on your Earth and things are wacky here. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be curious if that's still a conception people are even toying around with. That Crime Syndicate series didn't seem to play with it that much.
Mm-hmm.
Because there does seem to be still like legitimate good on that Earth. It's the Legion of Justice. You know what I mean? Like it's a little just more a flip than a mirror universe scenario. But I kind of prefer the version given to us in the New 52. Like I like the idea that the entire arc of the cosmology of Earth 3 is to strength and might and things like that. So even the concept of good is different there. I like that.
That's
I
cool.
think it's narratively more interesting than just like, on this Earth, Superman's bad and Lex is good.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, next question from Siege the Box, who asks, did Dr. Light have it coming? I mean, sure, he had been presented as somewhat meek leading up to this, but, you know, it was just a matter of time before he saw a Dibney and lost his shit again.
So keep in mind, New 52, new continuity. Dr. Arthur Light is presented as this very kind of like meek, nice family man who Waller press gangs into being in her Justice League of America, which is a government-sponsored Justice League designed to be a counterbalance to the Justice League. Every member is sort of chosen to be like, you could take on them, you could take on them, you could take on... Like,
But it's a new continuity, but also everybody can potentially get at their past, right?
No.
I thought they like remembered.
That's death metal. That's so much later. New 52 was like,
okay.
I mean, it wasn't entirely, but that's just mistakes. The idea was New 52 is
fresh continuity.
New, fresh. So this Arthur Light has gets in this accident, basically has energy and light powers.
Sure.
And he is sent on this mission with the JLA to stop the Justice League, who themselves have infringed on Kondak's sovereign borders because Shazam has elected to take Black Adam's ashes there to bury him.
Okay.
You can see where Trinity War is maybe like a little too convoluted.
Yep.
That's like the first issue.
Jesus. It's got real episode 1 energy, or like
it's a little that.
Yeah.
Too many. How do we get the pieces in place for the thing we actually want to do?
Yeah.
And
the Trade Federation.
The Justice Leagues start fighting each other.
Yeah.
And Dr. Light kind of can't fully control his powers, and because he's like an energy battery, he sucks energy from other people. And so Superman thinks maybe something's he's fighting with Dr. Light, and then his heat vision just goes and he vaporizes Dr. Light, and he's like, wait, what the fuck? Like,
some fucking
no, I didn't want to do that. Like
some fucking Cyclops shit.
And he loses control, and he's like, what the fuck just happened? I didn't do that. You learn later that it was Atomica had put a sliver of kryptonite in his brain and hit a nerve and triggered his thing.
Of course. That sounds awesome.
Sure. But that's kind of what happens. And that's kind of what kicks off the Trinity War, which is like the 3 Justice Leagues, the Trinity of Sin, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, and they're all at cross purposes, all these trinities of things. And then at the end, there's just some dumb line where they're like, no, the Trinity refers to the number 3, Earth 3. Like Madame Xanadu like literally says 3, Earth 3. And then the crime syndicate steps out of the portal and they're like, we're here.
3 times 2 plus 1, Jeff Johns.
I mean, it's this close.
I bet somewhere in there.
He's like, can we make the crime syndicate from Earth 7?
Yeah, like, what if we had 2 of them and then we just added in a new character? Just go in.
Yeah. So Dr. Arthur Light, though, in the New 52, basically is never a psychopath, never a villain. He's actually a very sweet fellow who's destroyed. Now, if he came back, would he become the rape villain that he was beforehand?
Jesus.
I don't know. I also don't know why. Well, yeah, I don't know. A lot of things are kind of arbitrary. Because it also doesn't feel like there was any effort to be like, yeah, we'll come back to this character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like, and once we set him up and then Superman does this to him, then we open him up to, like, there's no indication of that at all. Yeah. So that's one of the weirder things in the New 52 is sometimes characters are just different entirely.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. All right. Next question comes from Crimson Raven from the review, who asks, how far-reaching were the events of Forever Evil? I know that it caused Dick to not be able to act as Nightwing for a while, but what other big consequences came from the event?
Sure. In Forever Evil #1, Dick Grayson is captured by Superwoman, the Earth 3 Wonder Woman, and is televised publicly unmasked. The crime syndicate goes, "Here, we got rid of your fucking Justice League. Here's Nightwing. He's Dick Grayson, motherfuckers. We're not to be fucked with." And everyone goes, "Shit." Like the whole world, villains, heroes go like, "Did they just fucking unmask Nightwing?"
Crazy.
And everyone goes like, "Oh, fuck." And in Forever Evil 7 or 6, when they break into the watchtower, the Injustice League does, they find Dick Grayson alive but strapped into the murder machine. And no matter what you do to the murder machine, it'll kill you. And they can't get him out. And so Lex covers his mouth and kills him. And Batman's like, "I'm going to fucking kill you." And then in 7, Lex then gets him out of the machine and revives him. And he's like, "You maniac. This is the only way to get him out. You got to kill him. You stupid motherfucker. I'm Lex Luthor." So because of that, Dick Grayson is generally declared dead. He can't just be Nightwing because people know who Nightwing is.
Sure.
So they keep Dick Grayson dead, and then after, that's when he joins Spiral, and we get that run called Grayson, where he's a spy.
Yes.
Agent 37.
Yes.
He's going, and Batman is like, "This is an even more dangerous mission, but you have to stay dead, and I need you to go into Spiral." So that becomes where he goes.
Sure.
Because he is unmasked, Luthor at the end of Forever Evil figures out who Batman is.
Oh.
And then goes to confront, in future issues, goes and confronts Wayne and goes like, "Oh, there's kind of a draft in here," like moves the clock, and he's like, Batcave. Like he's does that, and he kind of uses that as slight leverage in addition to the fact that he saved the world to get into the Justice League, where he remains for a while and stays as a hero even through the Rebirth era.
Is he still a hero right now?
No.
Oh, okay. Did like Death Metal fuck everything up, or
Death Metal full villain?
Yeah.
Luthor is still relatively a hero even through Metal.
Sure.
But after Metal, he gets in a thing called No Justice. He kind of gets a vision of Perpetua and Doom, and he, a thing that kind of is like a weird turn for Luthor, but I think works. He actually, for once, believes in something bigger than himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he believes it's his cosmic purpose to make sure the multiverse reverts to Doom. And so he kind of becomes like an acolyte of Perpetua.
So he reverse flashes and realizes his destiny is to be a bad guy?
Sort of. And so he goes full evil again.
Sure,
and it's, I think, the only way they could undo, like reasonably narratively go, he had committed himself to heroism for a while.
Yeah.
How do we bring him,
Sure, back to being a bad guy, yeah.
I think it works. I actually really like it. And now he's kind of just back to being like, I hate Superman. I'm out for myself. Fuck you.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, he's doing that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So that was a very lasting impact, was Lex's hero turn. First as just a member of the Justice League, and then for a bit as Superman of Metropolis.
Yeah.
He had a blue and red armor. He wore the S. He wore New 52 Superman's cape after New 52 Superman died.
Wow.
He was like, "I'm Superman."
Wow.
So that was a pretty lasting impact of that. For a bit, Captain Cold went to work for Lex Luthor, and that was kind of neat. Sinestro and Black Adam start a bit of a friendship in Forever Evil that then carries on to Sinestro's solo series, and the two of them team up to fight the Pale Bishop and stuff like that.
He rides in on a Pale Bishop.
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, there's other pieces. It sort of reintroduced Ted Kord to continuity.
Oh, nice.
At the start of Forever Evil, Lex Luthor kills Ted Kord's dad. And then at the end of it, he kind of like doesn't take over Kord Industries, and he's kind of like, I owe it to your dad kind of thing.
Oh, nice.
And sort of reintroduces Ted for the first time in continuity, because he had been, we hadn't seen him in the New 52 continuity yet, and he had been canonically dead since Countdown to Infinite Crisis. So that was kind of big. The Metal Men were back.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few things, but yeah,
that's the
kind
big
of
stuff. Yeah.
Well, and obviously they had captured some members of the crime syndicate, and they were like, something else is coming. And then at the end, you see on Earth 3 the Anti-Monitor, and you're like, fuck. And then that leads to Darkseid War, which was
so is that the thing that kicked them out?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it leads to Darkseid War, which is Darkseid versus the Anti-Monitor, and all that kind of shit that ended up happening in Justice League came out of that. So there's a few things that come out of Forever Evil. It's a relatively, for that era, significant event.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the next question from the Smited Butt, who asks...
Another one? Did I just fuck that up? Oh, well, you get 2 questions.
Sure.
Oh, no, sorry. I'm thinking of the other episode we recorded. It's all blending together, baby.
During the prelude to Trinity War, Batman shows Superman his room of boxes with contingency plans for each hero.
Yeah.
What do you think was in Barry's box?
I know what's in Barry's box.
Oh my God.
Or rather, I know what's in Iris's box.
No. Barry.
Yeah. Yeah, Batman shows this room, and there's like little, very like nicely organized label. He's got like a real like Marie Kondo kind of aesthetic to how he keeps his contingency plans. All these nice labeled boxes that end up being used during Forever Evil. He and Catwoman break into the Batcave to get some of them because he's like maybe they'll work against the crime.
Yeah, they're like, it's technically like us but bad. So
there's like that's where he gets the Sinestro Corps ring, and he's like, I don't think it has much charge, but we'll try it. He's like, kryptonite, that's already missing or whatever. He's like, there's that. Catwoman's like, what's in the Wonder Woman box? And he's like, we can't use it. He's like, or he says like nothing or something like that. He's like, I actually don't have a plan for Wonder Woman or something like that. In the Flash box is what does he call it? Like a extra dimensional lightning rod. He's like, it's something from the device from the future that I got my hands on. It should disrupt the extra dimensional energies that power the Flash, like the Speed Force. Ultimately, Lex ends up with that lightning rod and like stabs Mazas with it when he says, and I've got your voice. So then he stabs him with that, and then that lightning rod for the magic lightning gets
that's
Alexander
fun.
Luthor. I love that moment. It's a good one. So that's what it is. That's his contingency plan for Barry, is basically like a device to disrupt his energies, which is a similar idea to what Waller had by putting Vibe on the Justice League of America. And so in Trinity War, Vibe is the one that has to go up against Flash because he has like multiversal, like dimensional vibration powers. So she's like, fuck up his Vibe. And that's how that works. So a similar kind of approach from both Batman and Waller in that regard.
Yeah. Next question from Mullet Overlord, who asks, can you expound on the dynamic between Nick Necro, Constantine, and Zatanna that the flashbacks in Forever Evil, Blight, imply? They fucking...
I don't fully remember, but short version, yes.
Oh.
Pretty sure Nick Necro and Zatanna had been fucking. Zatanna and Constantine obviously had been fucking.
That's the dream.
I think possibly even there's a Necro Constantine implication.
Whoa.
If I'm not 100% mistaken.
Is that your fan fiction?
I mean, yeah, it's not like a huge hinge in that story, but there is an element of a sort of like love triangle thing. But between them there. Yes. Short version, there's some fucking.
Fair.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the last question from Chad Bucher. Bucher. Who asks, I'm currently reading some of the New 52, Superman, Batman, Swamp Thing. What would you consider essential series before diving into Forever Evil?
Right. Well, I mean, before diving into Forever Evil, if you want to read Trinity War, you basically have to be reading, what are all the series? I think there's a Pandora solo series and a Phantom Stranger solo series that have issues that are part of that story. Justice League, Justice League of America, Justice League Dark. I think those 5 series are the ones across which Trinity War plays out.
Okay.
And then generally leading up to that, I think you only really, quote unquote, need to be reading Justice League and Justice League of America. I think those are the only ones that really you need to set up the things that lead into those things. I'm sure there's some pieces in other books that kind of feed, but my perspective is Justice League of America, then expand to Dark. You should read Dark anyway, but in terms of this, expand to Dark, Phantom Stranger, Pandora, and then you're into Forever Evil, basically.
Sure.
I guess you could read the Shazam. This is part of reading Justice League is you'd be reading Shazam was introduced as backup stories in Justice League.
Yes.
And that includes his fight with Black Adam, where Black Adam dies. That sets Shazam up to be like, what do I do with his ashes? I'll bring them to Kahndaq, like that, which kicks off Trinity War.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason to read Justice League. Yeah.
That was the last question.
Holy shit.
So you know what time it is.
Time
to play everybody's favorite game. Can you guess the name of the character based on someone who does not read comic books? Subscribe that character to us.
Holy shit.
If you don't know how this game works, I send a photo of a DC character to my wife who does not read comic books, nor does she care for them. She sends back 4 clues describing what she sees. Really, are they helpful?
That's true.
Yes. Are you ready?
As much as I could be.
Yeah, what's your win ratio right now?
I think I'm under 500 right now. I think.
Well, here we go. The first of 4 clues.
Okay.
First clue. Arrow points to his dick.
Arrow points to his dick. I'm just going to go through. Green Arrow.
No.
Arrow points to his dick. Merlin?
No.
Like Signal Man?
Nope.
Okay, another clue, please.
Sure. Second clue. Discount Superman.
Shazam?
No.
Sorry. Fans of Shazam. Red Tornado? I'm trying to think of shapes.
No.
More than actual thing. Another clue, please.
Another clue. Okay. Next clue. Tron Nazi Captain. I will say this is potentially exceedingly difficult. This is both not a deep cut character, but also exceedingly difficult.
Sure. It's not Captain Nazi. It's not something obvious like that. It's.
I'd also expand your mind to what being a DC character can really mean.
Okay. So like Supremo or something, like some random multiverse character.
Not Supremo.
Random multiverse character, huh?
Do you need the final clue?
Majestic? No.
That's exactly who it is.
Mr. Majestic?
That's exactly who it is. Oh, baby. Mr. Majestic. That's a Wildstorm universe, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Holy shit.
Well, shit.
It's a Wildcats character.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he shows up as like one of, I'm pretty sure he shows up even in like Final Crisis and stuff.
Yeah.
He was like continuity. He might still be, technically, I guess, might still be.
Yes.
because Midnighter and shit are out there.
Exactly.
So,
Yes.
But yeah, Mr. Majestic.
A new thing that I've been doing.
I have 2 Mr. Majestic series.
Ooh. I may have just ordered a couple Mr. Majestic books.
Very nice.
Also, a new thing I've been doing is when I have to prepare for this game, I'll just like pick a random box and like grab a random book.
Right.
And see what comes up.
Nice.
Yes. Well, did any of you guess that character? Maybe you were going to guess next week's character because the episode is...
Next week is the start of Thirstuary.
Holy shit, it finally is coming.
It's coming, so are we.
That's a clunky name.
We've
done better.
Bruno came up with it. I was just trying to toss him a bone.
That's a great name.
Poor guy just needs something.
I love that name. It's the best name we've ever gotten.
How dare you?
A lot of people, I've talked to a lot of people. A lot of people saying this is a great name. A lot of people are telling me it's a great name.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's Thirst Month.
Holy shit.
Thirstuary.
To be honest, it's surprising it took us this long to get here.
Yeah, I can't believe we've gone through this many Februaries without doing this.
Right?
Here's the lineup for Thirstuary.
Mm-hmm.
First week.
Step on my neck.
Step on my throat.
Yeah. That's...
Interpret that as you will. I generally...
Interpret it as you will?
I'm generally interpreting that as strong muscle ladies.
Yes, obviously.
But I don't want to be prescriptive about it. Maybe there's dudes you want to step on your throat.
Adam Driver.
Fine. But just generally, that's my broad interpretation.
Sure. Week
2. Dad ass.
Oh.
Nightwing episode.
Of course. I was like, Grayson, who else would it
be? Somewhere in there, maybe a Valentine's Day special where I just make you read a story like we did when we did the Marriage of Aquaman kind of thing. Week 3.
Mm-hmm.
Forgive Me Zother.
Ooh.
So strong zaddy energy.
Ooh, I like that.
Is what we're going for that one. And then the last week, the Golden Age patrons will pick between a few thirsty themes for us. But that's Thirstuary. So, yeah, next week's episode is Step on My Throat. So if it's strong muscle ladies or, people you consider to be in the same category, they do not have to be female characters. Throw your questions in there. They don't necessarily even have to be, I should say, they can either be thirsty questions or questions about characters we probably will thirst over.
Yes.
Totally open. So if you have like a legitimate question about like Black Canary or something, you'd be like, I want to learn something about Black Canary. Totally qualifies. Yes. You don't have to be horny. We will do that for you.
Yeah. I mean, you can. Look, all comers welcome.
Yes. Including non-comers. Yeah.
Look, it's hard sometimes. And sometimes it's very soft.
It will be.
Well, we'd love to hear from all of you.
Yeah.
Why don't you send those questions to our various social media platforms, such as our Facebook,
Dr. DC Podcast,
our Twitter,
at Dr. DC,
our Instagram,
Dr. DC Podcast,
of course, our email,
drdcpodcast@gmail.com,
our subreddit,
r/Dr_DC.
Give us a call, baby.
208-917-3238. Local docs are waiting to take your call.
Call me, maybe. 208-917-DCEU.
I've probably told you this before. One of my favorite ever Jake and Amir jokes.
Yeah.
Is from an episode called Double Date. Jake goes to answer the door for this date that he's meeting.
Yeah.
And he goes, hey, I just met you. And he holds up a tin and he goes, and this is gravy. And she walks past him and he goes, you idiot. You fucking idiot. He's just like,
that's
just like
really funny.
One of my favorite jokes.
That's very good. Well, great skits like that you can find on TikTok.
At Dr. DC.
We do some really fun DC-related sketch work in there.
Yeah. Or I just sing Meatloaf.
You get real sad, drink, and sing Meatloaf on TikTok.
I kind of wanted to put like another one up a few days later, just still drinking in the same clothes, but just like, I
would do it.
Heaven can wait.
All of our episodes can be found on our website,
drdcpodcast.com.ca.
We love those 5-star reviews. Bring them in.
Yeah.
Feed me your reviews.
Yeah. Tie us up and stick a 5-star review in our mouth.
Yeah.
So we can't talk back.
1 star at a time, and I can only take 5.
What? Take 5?
Oh. 5. What you waiting for? When you want a 3, 2, 1, let's do it. boy band 5.
I know.
Send us some physical mail.
301 Hogue Street, Hoge Street, Whitehorse, Yukon, Canada, Y1A1V8.
Either send it to Richard Eden or Reed Vanier.
That's right.
And if you want to continue to pay us money,
I mean, of course you do.
yeah, why don't you do so through our Patreon?
Patreon.com/DrDC.
Then you get something out of it too.
$1, $5, $7 levels. All of them give you access to the Discord, our awesome Discord community. Ton of fun in there. And at the higher levels, you get bonus episodes, videos, theme polls, like deciding what the final episode of Thirstuary will be.
Yeah.
Don't you want that kind of power? Don't you want to tell us what to do?
Only one patron can have all that power.
Yeah.
Also, back to the mail thing. We got Visions in the mail.
Yeah. The Vision series by Tom King and who's the artist?
That's a great question. And
Damn it, Richard.
I think I have it somewhere in the house. That's not there.
That is so not helpful. It's somewhere in the house.
Yeah. There's a chance that it's up there, but there's also a good chance that it's sitting on a table waiting for me to read it.
Right. At any rate, thank you for that.
Who sent that to us?
That was
But wasn't it? Yeah.
That was that was Butt. The Smited Butt, I believe, is what he's currently going by.
Yes. Our Lord and Savior.
I mean yours.
It'll be yours one day.
I think I'm gonna nail 95 treat asses. I'm starting Lutheranism in the butt religion, I guess.
Isn't Lutheranism just like a so that people could read it in English, the Bible? Like,
yeah, and that's what I want for ass.
Yeah, but it's not like it's written in some
I want it for ass.
derelict
ass
language.
Ass.
Just written in farts. You want to translate it to
There's
English.
no way that 95 treatises boiled down to English.
Well, if you want...
Clearly don't know enough about Lutheranism to pull this.
Yeah, I know. Both of us got way too deep in a hot pool of water and we did not want to keep going. If you want to even get more of our nonsense, we have a whole other podcast.
Yeah, Ghostfacers, a Supernatural rewatch. We're going through every single episode of the CW Supernatural. We do real world monster lore. We talk about behind the scenes stuff. We actually are we have better and more info than the quote unquote official Supernatural rewatch podcast.
Yeah, if you want to know why we're so mad, go listen to that.
Unless you're listening and you are from the cast of Supernatural, in which case we love that. We think it's great. We have no hard feelings at all, but also come
it's a big blue ocean.
Show.
Everybody can be happy. And
yeah, but if you're not being happy with us, are you really being happy at all?
Leave your lover, leave them for me.
Oh, don't do no, not that song. Oh no. I don't have much to give.
Some Sam Smith to soothe us away as we end this podcast.
Drift away sweetly, baby.
Ciao, ciao.
Adios.
Heroes, they always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure, they are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.